The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Weyburn City Council for the night of Monday, February 24th. Before we get started tonight, we're going to make just a quick announcement. I think we'll notice that our little gallery is a little more empty tonight than it normally would be on a Monday. So today, like the rest of Weyburn, we mourn the loss of our good friend Greg Nickel. First and foremost, Greg was a family man, and our thoughts are with Tracy and their family. But for the rest of us, Greg was part of daily life too. He served our community as a journalist, an advocate, a supporter, and a friend for 30 years. Greg started writing for the Weyburn Review in 1995. Since then, he was a shining star in local journalism and an award winner in his industry. He was a community leader too, and I can't imagine, we were talking earlier, a tournament or a chamber event or a festival without Greg. He loved this city, and we loved him. I'll give a quick quote. After Greg received the Queen Jubilee Award, he expressed his gratitude for Weyburn, and in his column he wrote, "This tells me what I've always known, that Weyburn and area is home to many, many amazing, talented, and incredible people. But today, we're down one of those people." So to a friend, a devoted family man, and a community builder, tonight we say thank you for your service, Greg. And now, we will call this meeting to order. If Greg was here, he'd say, "That's enough, Richards, move on now." So we'll get to business. Thank you for joining us. We got a busy night tonight. We've got some zoning amendments. Make an appointment to the Walk of Fame Committee. And because we're excited about spring, Andrew's going to talk about tree pruning. So we will move quickly through our agenda tonight. First off, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes of the February 10th meeting.
Your Worship, I can make that motion.
Thank you. A seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Good. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Any additions to the agenda? Administration?
Your Worship, there's no additions from administration tonight.
Thank you. Council? Nothing. Thank you. No public hearings or notices tonight. No delegations, proclamations, or petitions. Any reports from standing committees? And we're going to address this at every meeting. If folks have, councillors have any committee reports they want to bring, we'll open to them now. Councillor Bador.
Thanks, everyone. Just like to chat a little bit about the Weyburn Ag Society. I've been at a couple meetings now, their AGM and their kind of first kickoff meeting. Really excited about the group there. They're a dedicated bunch of volunteers. Currently have an opening for office manager there, so that's opening. So that's a full-time position, or a almost full-time position with them. And also, taking food vendors for the upcoming fair. Go to their Facebook page and their website, and all the information's there. But a great group of volunteers.
Thanks, Councillor Bador. Anybody else? No? Right on. Okay, we'll keep going. Next up is the consent agenda. The only item on there is the Fire Chief's report for January of 2025. So if I could get a motion?
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the Fire Chief report for January be accepted.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Your Worship, I'll second that.
Very good. Any questions or commentary on that report? Hearing none. All in favor? Good. Thank you. As always, that'll be on the city's website. On to motions, and we're going to go straight to introduction of bylaws. So I'm going to turn, we have right now a zoning and OCP amendment, and I'll turn this over to Planning and Development Coordinator Malcolm.
Thank you. A zoning bylaw amendment application and corresponding official community plan amendment application has been submitted by Bill Volbrecht. The amendment is to change the zoning of 325 Queen Street, which is Block C, Plan 101456096, from highway commercial to medium industrial. The property is privately owned, or was privately owned. If council gives first reading at this meeting, public notices will be sent out in accordance with the city's public notice policy for the public hearing to occur on March 10, 2025 at the regular council meeting. Notices will be advertised in the February 26th and March 5th, 2025 editions of the Weyburn Review, posted at City Hall and on the city's website. The proposal is for Bill Volbrick to expand his business, A&B Concrete, to the mentioned property. The proposal is also meant to eliminate the need for the continuation of a zoning contract, which allows the operation of Fido's Place. The OCP and zoning amendments are required to facilitate both developments, as the subject property is currently zoned highway commercial, which limits specific commercial development. And that's just the area in question. The property is currently designated highway commercial. The applicant is requesting that the lands be designated medium industrial on the land use designation map of the OCP. The purpose of this designation is to provide medium industrial lands to businesses that require it. The property is currently zoned highway commercial. The applicant has requested that the lands be rezoned to medium industrial, which would allow for the expansion of his business, categorized as processing rock and gravel under the discretionary use. Kennel for commercial breeding and boarding purposes is also a discretionary use under the medium industrial zoning classification, and I highlighted it in the table below. If council gives first reading to bylaw 2025-3494 and bylaw 2025-3495 at this meeting, then staff will bring the bylaw forward to the next district planning commission meeting for input. The official community plan amendments must be approved by the Minister of Government Relations. After final reading of bylaw 2025-3495, it will be submitted to the province for ministerial approval. Both bylaws will take effect upon ministerial approval. Council options. Option 1, council gives first reading to bylaw 2025-3495, being a bylaw to amend the official community plan to designate the above mentioned lands as medium industrial on the future land use and land use designation maps. Council give first reading to bylaw 2025-3494, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the above-mentioned lands from highway commercial to medium industrial zone. Council directs administration to advertise bylaws 2025-3494 and 2025-3495 as per the public notice policy. Option 2, council refuses to give first reading to bylaws 2025-3494 and 2025-3495 and direct administration to advise the applicant of the refusal based on the following reasons. Any officer making a motion for refusal shall provide reasons for the refusal. Staff recommendation, option 1, that council gives first reading to both bylaws 2025-3494 and 2025-3495 to amend the official community plan and zoning bylaw as mentioned above.
Thank you very much. Before we open the discussion, let's get both motions on the floor, I think. So if we can start with the zoning amendment.
Okay, Your Worship, I would move that council give first reading to bylaw 2025-3494, being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the above-mentioned lands from highway commercial to medium industrial zone.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. So just as a point of order to the clerk, should we get motions for both on the floor, and then we should not do that? Okay, that's not what we're going to do. So let's have that discussion first about the zoning. Any discussion on that? All right. That was easy. All in favor? Thank you. Next up, then, the OCP amendment.
Your Worship, I would move that council give first reading to bylaw 2025-3495, being a bylaw to amend the official community plan to designate the above-mentioned lands as medium industrial on the future land use and land use designation map.
Great. And a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thanks. Okay, any commentary, questions on the OCP amendment? None. Okay, we'll call the question then. All in favor? Thank you very much to Coordinator Malcolm then. So just to make sure the process is clear, this is step one. First reading's been done. We'll go through some public hearings. This has to go to the ministry, also to the Regional Planning Commission. So it might be a couple of meetings before we see it back here. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your work on that. All right, next up is new business, a Walk of Fame appointment, and I believe the city manager is going to address that.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So the City of Weyburn has a Walk of Fame committee, which consists of members of City Council, as well as local volunteers. Their main role is to adjudicate the submissions received by the public for a Walk of Fame. So the committee was established to identify and honor the outstanding achievements of our community citizens. So we have had a recommendation from their board to have Jerry Ponto and Dale Renz added as new members. So I am recommending to council tonight to appoint both Jerry Ponto and Dale Renz to the Weyburn Walk of Fame Committee.
Great. Do I have a motion?
Your Worship, I am very pleased to make the motion that Jerry Ponto and Dale Renz be appointed to the Walk of Fame Committee.
All right.
Your Worship, sorry, John. I'm pleased to second that motion. I'm not even going to make a joke at Renz's expense here.
You could, though.
Well, certainly I could, but I'm not going to.
Very good. Okay, any questions or commentary on that appointment? Nope, hearing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. And thank you to those two and everybody that volunteers their time on that Walk of Fame committee. That is a pretty cool feature for our city. I love it. Next up then, back to Planning and Development Coordinator Malcolm for a development permit for an ice cream bike.
A development permit application has been received from Melissa Wright to operate an ice cream bike on city-owned properties such as Jubilee Park and Don Mitchell Park. Requests like this have been approved by council in the past for food trucks to operate on city-owned lands. She's looking to operate during the months of May to September on Fridays to Sundays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The request was circulated to applicable city departments and no major concerns were received with the request. However, the following comments are provided. The ice cream bike should not interfere with the flow of traffic on the sites or obstruct pedestrian circulation. All signage, refuse, and other associated materials must be removed and the site left in a clean and tidy condition. So council options. Option 1, council approves a temporary operation of Melissa Wright's ice cream bike on city properties without further conditions. And option 2, council directs the development officer to refuse a temporary operation of Melissa Wright's ice cream bike on city properties for the following reasons. The officer making the motion for refusal should provide reasons for the permit's refusal in their motion. So staff recommendation, the request is not expected to have a negative impact on the operations of city parks or other city properties by allowing an ice cream bike's access to the site. Therefore, staff are recommending option 1 to approve the request for the temporary operation of Melissa Wright's ice cream bike on city properties without further conditions.
Thank you. A motion to get this on the floor.
Your Worship, this takes me back to hot summer days waiting for that bike in the 80s. Therefore, I'm pleased to move that council approves the temporary operation of Melissa Wright's ice cream bike on city properties without further conditions.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Okay. Other than Councillor Janke's flashback to the 80s, any commentary or questions on this permit?
Flashback.
You notice you left your mic off for that, though. Yeah. Yeah. No, if I may, I want to just make sure I understand, because this is a temporary permit. So this will need to be applied for annually? Okay.
Yes, if she wants to do it next year, she has to apply for it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Morissette, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Actually, this one just came to mind, Director Malcolm. This is just for the parks, though. So if during the fair she wanted to ride onto that property, she'd have to get permission from them to actually go there, correct?
Yes, so any events that she wants to operate within, she has to get permission from the persons putting the events on. Yeah.
Does that include Councillor Janke's driveway?
Your Worship, no, it does not.
It does not? Okay, good. All right. Anything else? If not, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next up is a request for tender for a tandem axle truck with a dump box. We'll go to Director of Engineering Cognate for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the Public Works Department requires an additional tandem dump truck for snow removal, hauling of materials to the landfill, and utility digs. This will assist with reducing contractor costs while fully utilizing city workers, especially after snow events. Fleet Services have an allotted department budget for capital purchases of $240,000 for this tandem axle truck with dump box and hoist. On January 23rd, 2025, FLE 2025-01 was posted on the city's bidding portal, Bids and Tenders, SAS Tenders, and the City of Weyburn website for one tandem axle truck with dump box and hoist. Quotations were to be received by the City of Weyburn by February 13th, 2025 at 1 p.m. A total of 3 tenders were received. The bids are summarized below and exclude taxes, with the low bidder coming in at $215,575 for Falcon Equipment Limited. The other 2 bidders was Brant Tractor Limited and Redhead Equipment. All the bids received were fully assessed to ensure the bids were qualified and that all the operational requirements as outlined by the city were met. It is recommended that the supply of one tandem axle truck with dump box and hoist be awarded to Falcon Equipment Limited at a bid price of $215,575 plus taxes, delivered without trade.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I do, Your Worship, excuse me. I make a motion that the supply of one tandem axle truck with dump box and hoist be awarded to Falcon Equipment Limited at a bid price of $215,575 plus taxes, delivered without trade.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that motion, Your Worship.
Thanks. Any discussion, comments, questions? Councillor Corrigan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Director Cognate, I'm familiar with the other 2 bidders in this tender. Where is Falcon Equipment based?
I'll have to get back to you. I think it's still in Saskatchewan, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Questions? I guess, yeah, Councillor Bador.
Just one question. Isn't it in addition to the fleet, or are we replacing one? And, yeah.
At this moment, it is an addition, but we do have plans to sell a 2009 Actera tandem. Yeah, so it will replace that once we sell it.
Okay. Well, City Manager, you have a question?
No, I just want to answer the question asked before Falcon Equipment's out of Regina.
Okay. Great. Thank you. That's good. All right. Anybody else? If nothing else, then I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. All right, on to tree pruning. The Director of Leisure Services, please, if you will.
Thank you, Your Worship. So in continuation with the annual Boulevard tree pruning program that we put in place back in 2020, I believe, the 2025 Parks Department budget included $40,000 for a contracted vendor to provide tree pruning services involving crown cleaning, crown raising, and pruning for the overall health of 350 City of Weyburn Boulevard trees. Trees will be pruned based on a priority of necessity as identified by the Parks Manager and the contracted arborist throughout the following areas. So this year we will be starting over at Eaglesham Avenue, then working our way through McGillivray Drive, the 500 block of 11th Street, number 51 to 100 block on 11th Street, and number 49 to 96 on 12th Street. So the hope is always that we get to cover off those areas with the allotted funds. However, there may be some trees that we miss, or we may do better than anticipated and be able to move on to different areas. So work is scheduled to begin in the spring, hopefully, with all of the activities finishing by the end of the year, December 31st, 2025. So on January 10th, 2025, the Boulevard Tree Pruning RFP was posted on Bids and Tenders. Proposals were to be received by no later than February 13th at 1:00 p.m. and we received 2 proposals from Green Drop Limited and Boreal Tree Service. You'll notice quite a spread in the bid price. We have no concerns with that, as we've actually used Green Drop as our service provider since this program was put in place. So we did see a slight increase to their per tree amount of around $20, I believe, but we're still very happy with the pricing that they provided. So due to inflation, Green Drop's price per tree of $103.50 increased to $123.50 for a total of $43,225 plus applicable taxes based on 350 trees. This is over the $40,000 budget and can be renegotiated through the number of trees that we trim at the $123.50 price if needed. However, the parks budget currently has $55,000 also in place for contractor expenses for other such work as stump grinding and other Dutch elm disease controls as needed. Based on the full bid assessment, the pricing, past performance, and meeting the requirements outlined by the city, it's recommended that the 2025 Boulevard tree pruning contract be awarded to Green Drop to prune all 350 trees as initially set out for a total of $43,225 plus applicable taxes.
Thank you very much. A motion.
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the 2025 Boulevard tree pruning contract be awarded to Green Drop Limited to prune 350 city-owned boulevard trees for $43,225 plus applicable taxes.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Your worship, I'll second that motion.
Thanks, Councillor Janke. Any questions for the Director of Leisure Services on this? Councillor Higgs.
I got sort of a two-part question. I guess my memory obviously isn't correct. We didn't sign a multi-year deal with these guys last year.
No, we go at a yearly contract with them. That's how they bid it out. So every year we go to tender.
Could we?
It's something that we could look at doing. Yeah, we could open up that conversation.
Okay. Just because you know this is going to continue, right? So maybe we can get ahead of it, but to a certain degree. I get they're going to want to move it up themselves, but okay, good, thank you.
Anybody else? Laura? Sorry, Councillor Morissette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Andrew, if people can't remember, can you just let the public know what the importance is of doing this tree pruning program? You know, it was something we've just started in the last 5 years, but has it been successful so far as well?
Yeah, you're really diving into my knowledge of trees and parks. I wish I had my arborist here to answer that question. Basically, we have to stay on tree maintenance, especially in southeastern Saskatchewan. Trees are a real asset. Basically, our entire boulevard tree population of about 8,000 trees has been more or less hand planted, so we need to stay on top of it. We do have our parks crew that puts in a ton of effort with tree pruning on our city-owned trees. However, with our capacities, we just can't keep up to the overall work that's required. So back in 2020, we identified a major need to get caught up. So we identified this program as a piece to do that. So essentially, the contractors we bring in, we get them to target the bigger, more problematic trees that maybe our crews can't get to, and then to kind of balance out our work throughout the year. And yeah, it's just to stay on top of the overall health of the tree, and then also potential liabilities and stuff like that with trees falling in storms, branches falling on vehicles, impeding sidewalks or roadways for traffic to get through. So it's an ongoing issue, and the trees never stop growing. So I see this as being a continuous program for years to come.
Thank you, and thank you for working with Kurt on this, because I know it's something that's really important to our city, and thank you to the City Works crews, because I know that they do a really, really good job of the tree pruning throughout the year.
If there's nothing else, I do have just a bit of clarity. Sometimes folks, we hear the term boulevard trees, but that doesn't mean that they might be in the first meter or two of your yard as a resident. So if somebody has a concern, Andrew, about a tree in their yard, what's the right thing for them to do? Perhaps maybe a branch is broken and is hanging, or a tree's grown erratically. Yeah. What would they do? What's the course of action?
Of a public-owned tree, you believe?
Well, I think sometimes maybe we don't know.
Okay, so what folks can do is reach out directly to the Parks Department. The year we started this program, we also did a thorough inventory of all of our trees. So we actually have all the valuations, the locations, photos, information on species, condition reports on every city-owned tree within Weyburn. So people can reach out. They can actually talk to the parks manager, Curtis Block, or his very talented employees. They can tell him their address, and they can actually go in on that system and say, yeah, that's ours or that's not ours. If it is a city-owned tree, then we'll send down a crew, or we'll put them on the list for service to send down a crew and take a look at it. And then we can also identify at that point if it's not a public tree. If it's not a public tree, then we'll just direct them to some local contractors to help them out with their issue.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. Okay. Nothing else? We'll call the question then. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And last is multi-material stewardship, and we will look to the Director of Engineering again.
All right. The Multi-Material Recycling Program, MMRP, approved by the Saskatchewan Ministry of Environment in 2015, is a cost-sharing initiative between businesses and communities where businesses that produce and distribute packaging to households share responsibility for the cost of recycling these materials. The program is operated by the Multi-Material Stewardship Western, MMSW, a nonprofit organization that acts on behalf of businesses that produce, sell, or distribute residential packaging and paper to Saskatchewan households. Saskatchewan businesses or organizations that supply or distribute packaging or printed paper to Saskatchewan households are required to register with MMSW and then report the tonnage of packaging and paper produced or distributed and pay fees based on that tonnage. These businesses are referred to as industry stewards. The City of Weyburn implemented a citywide multiple material recycling program in 2017, providing recycling of waste packaging and paper in accordance with the MMSW. The recycling program has deferred large amounts of recyclable material from the landfill since implementation in 2017, with residential curbside pickup and depots located around the city. The City of Weyburn currently has an agreement with MMSW where we submit reports for the total tons of residential waste packaging and paper, WPP, collected from curbside and depots. And then MMSW pays the city a rebate of $42 per curbside household per year, plus an additional rebate based on the annual depot tonnage reported in return, totaling $156,713.49 in 2024. This rebate goes into the revenue of the landfill budget, which helps offset the annual operating costs of the landfill and eco-center. So MMSW Phase 1 transition, the Household Packaging and Paper Stewardship Program Regulations 2023 was released and came into effect on March 31st, 2023. This requires the transition to a full extended producer responsibility, ERP, model, whereby producers assume operational and financial responsibility for collecting and recycling WPP in Saskatchewan. In May 2024, the Saskatchewan Ministry of Environment approved the Household Packaging and Paper Stewardship Plan submitted by MMSW, now Sask Recycles, on behalf of the producers. Phase 1 of the transition is focused on the largest municipalities with curbside and multifamily collection and was scheduled to launch on December 1st, 2024. Phase 2 of the transition is focused on smaller communities and scheduled to launch December 1st, 25. And Phase 3 is focused on depot collection and scheduled to begin December 1st, 26. The transition to full ERP is scheduled to complete by December 1st, 2027. Phase 1 of the transition consists of 3 different program models for community collection services. Option 1, in the community-led option, the community has an option to sign a new agreement with Sask Recycles as a contracted collection provider and will be fully responsible for material management, including procurement of service provider, public awareness, reporting, and contamination reduction. Sask Recycles will pay the city a rebate of $38 per curbside household per year for the community-led option, which equates to a $13,980 reduction in our current MMSW annual revenue for the curbside collection. The deadline for requesting participation in the community-led model is May 1st of '25. Option 2. In the program-led option, Sask Recycles will be responsible for all aspects of the management of curbside and multifamily collection services for the residents. With this collection model, the city would no longer receive the rebate payments from Sask Recycles, which would significantly decrease the current revenue stream for the landfill budget. If the community chooses the program-led model, the launch of the model will be a minimum of 2 years after agreeing to ensure that Sask Recycles has sufficient time to gather necessary information and operational knowledge from the community to complete a competitive procurement process. Option 3, to continue the shared responsibility model. The community will continue to receive payments in accordance with the terms of their existing agreements under the shared responsibility model until the launch of the community under one of the 2 options above, or December 1st of '27, whichever comes first. If the community requests to transition to the program-led model after December 1st of '25, the community will not be eligible to receive payments associated with the shared responsibility model after December 1st of '27. If the community requests transition to either community-led or program-led models, the community will still be able to continue to operate its depot locations until phase 3 of the transition. The MMSW would still provide rebates to the community of $233 per ton per year for the depot material. So the recommendation is that administration recommends that the city participates in the community-led model with the launch taking place in May of 2025.
Thank you very much.
Your Worship, I move that the city participates in the community-led model with the launch taking place in May of 2025.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you. Some questions? Yep, Councillor Morissette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Renee, I guess the long and the short of it, will our residents see any difference in the way that our recycling is picked up, whatever we choose to do?
No, the residents should not see any reduction in levels of service at all. Community-led will be very similar to how we are operating currently, and the program-led model will mimic the same way that we're operating now. It'll just be through the government directly rather than through the city.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Higgs.
So there is in this model, there is a reduction in revenue, and you're okay with that, obviously, and the way in which it's going to work out in time will be okay?
Yeah, that's correct. So in the community-led model, we're only seeing about $13,000 reduction in the revenue, whereas the program-led model will see the full reduction in that rebate altogether. So 13,000 is pretty minimal over the course of the year, for sure.
Okay. Good. Yeah, Councillor Janke.
And just to reiterate, this option will still give local contractors an opportunity to get the recycling contract. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So with the community-led model, the city will still be responsible for the procurement and managing the contractor. So we'll take the same steps that we did prior and do a competitive procurement process and go that round. So, yep.
Thank you. Anybody else? Last call? All right. So we'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And that's the end of the difficult work for the night. We'll go on to inquiries and announcements. I know you've got a couple, but we'll go around the room. Anybody else? Inquiries and announcements? No? I would only acknowledge that edition 2, is that what we call it, of the McLeod series, I believe is this Wednesday in that other place. We're already ahead though, so I expect that it'll stay that way. But good luck to the young men and women who are traveling to Estevan on Wednesday night, I believe, to take part in the McLeod series. to the city manager. You have got some words.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So today's a tough day for the city of Weyburn. We are losing one of our professionals. Today is Andrew Crow's last day with the city of Weyburn. Andrew's been with us for the last 6.5 years as Director of Leisure Services. He has been instrumental of what we've done in this municipality, leading that team and being a part of our larger senior leadership team. I'm very proud for him to have an opportunity to move to a larger, maybe a little more senior place right now, and an opportunity for him and his family. But the leadership he's provided has been great for the growth of our city and of that department. And we really will miss you, Andrew, and we really appreciate the work you've done for the city of Weyburn over your time here with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Off tonight. Thank you very much. I think that is it. If nobody else, we have got no notice of motion tonight, so I think we can adjourn the meeting. Did you want to say something? Sorry about that. Did you want to say something, Andrew? You can. Cameras are still on.
Sure. I mean, yeah, no, thank you to the city of Weyburn for giving me the opportunity to take on this role and for letting me be a part of the community. I got to be a part of some really cool projects, including the Credit Union Spark Center. So I'll always be a fan of Weyburn and for what it's provided to me and my family. So thank you.
I'm sure you'll miss the winters greatly, so
yeah, the minus 42.
We'll mail you some snow out once in a while. Yeah, thanks for all your service. All right, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today